In 2016, executives from Dolby Laboratories flew like 8,000 miles from the United States all the way to Mumbai, India.
Right, which is a massive trip just to negotiate a deal for a new video compression algorithm.
Exactly. And, you would expect that kind of meeting to take place in some sleek corporate park, right? With a seasoned tech billionaire or, I don't know, a massive team of Silicon Valley engineers.
Yeah, that would be the standard operating procedure.
But it didn't. They were actually walking onto a bustling movie set to negotiate with the film's lead actor.
Which is just wild to even picture.
It really is. An actor who had casually coded this production-grade software in his trailer at night, basically just to help himself decompress after these grueling 14-hour shooting days.
It's an incredible story.
Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we are exploring a very rare, fascinating intersection for you, where elite, like almost superhuman artistic dedication meets hard-coding technological genius.
Yeah, we're taking you on a mission into the making of the MS Dhoni biopic.
Starring a polymath named Anant Sharma. And we're doing this through the lens of a really remarkable document, Chapter 9, which is titled The Transformation, the Partnership, the Legend Reborn.
It's a heavy chapter, but so rewarding.
Okay, let's unpack this. We actually need to start in a boardroom well before the cameras even started rolling. We're at Foxstar Studios in Mumbai.
Right. For what should have been just a standard contract negotiation for a massive film.
Yeah, with all the usual heavy hitters present.
You have MS Dhoni sitting there, his manager Arun Pandey, the director Niraj Pandey, veteran producer Ronnie Screwvala, and executive Vijay Oberoi from Foxstar. And of course, Anant Sharma himself.
Right, and normally this is the kind of room where the corporate executives hold all the leverage.
Exactly. They were prepared to offer Anant a standard, albeit, a very substantial salary for his role.
And Dhoni just completely derails the standard corporate playbook.
He really does.
He interrupts the executive, Vijay, and demands that Anant doesn't just get a flat fee. He insists that Anant receive a direct, unmanipulatable 10% net profit share of the film.
What's fascinating here is the dual power dynamic at play. Because first, you have Dhoni asserting total creative and financial control over an established corporate structure.
Which you just don't see very often.
No, you don't. But second, it's the specific nature of the demand. Because in the film industry, back-end deals are notoriously tricky. Studios use creative accounting.
Oh, yeah, Hollywood accounting.
Exactly, Hollywood accounting.
Yeah.
They use it to ensure a movie rarely shows a technical profit on paper, basically avoiding payouts.
Right, so they can say, oh, well, the movie technically lost money, sorry.
Right. But Dhoni demands a straight 10% of net profits directly, with absolutely no manipulative milestones. He had recognized Anant's team-first mindset during an earlier cricket game and just decided, this guy wasn't just a hired gun, he was a partner.
And Anant, being relatively new to this level of leverage, actually tries to humbly protest.
Which is such a natural reaction.
Yeah, he tries to turn it down. But Ronnie Screwvala, who, he has been producing films for decades, just shoots him this fierce, comical, shut up and accept it look.
A real death glare.
It's so intense that Anant physically leans back in his chair and just snaps his mouth shut.
It's a great human moment. But Ronnie isn't just protecting Anant's financial windfall there. He knows something the Foxstar executives don't know yet.
A software reveal.
Yes. He's about to reveal why Anant is actually worth far more to the studio than just his on-screen performance.
Right. Ronnie pivots and reveals that during the shooting of his previous film, which was Yuri, Anant formed a company called Maya VFX. Now, I have to push back here because when I first read this, I was extremely skeptical.
I think we all were.
The claim is that Anant wrote a 40% file compression algorithm and custom color grading filters. And, it is very hard to believe that a guy acting all day is just casually coding world-class software at night.
It sounds like fiction.
Yeah. Was he actually writing the architecture himself, or did he just have a smart idea and hire a team of developers to execute it?
It's a totally fair question.
Yeah.
But he actually coded it himself. Anant is an IIT gold medalist in computer science.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and to understand why this algorithm blew Vijay Oberoi's mind, you really have to look at the mechanics of film production. Usually, shrinking a massive 4K video file by 40% means you lose quality. It gets pixelated or muddy.
Right. Anyone who's tried to compress a video on their phone knows it usually looks terrible.
Exactly. Companies like Apple and Google have entire divisions of engineers just trying to shave 2 or 3% off video compression without noticeable quality loss.
Just tiny increments.
But Anant noticed that on the set of Yuri, they were shooting in very specific low-light conditions. So he realized he could write a localized algorithm that selectively discarded non-visible color spectrum data that the human eye couldn't perceive anyway.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, he shrank the file size by 40% without any visual loss whatsoever. It completely disrupted the industry's technical baseline.
Which totally explains why Vijay Oberoi was absolutely astonished. Finding out your lead actor is essentially running a one-man Silicon Valley incubator out of his trailer between takes.
Right, it changes the entire negotiation.
It's like finding out your favorite Oscar-winning actor is secretly building the next unicorn tech startup while they're getting their makeup done.
Exactly. It proved his dual value to the studio immediately. But while that boardroom proved Anant's technical and business acumen, the very next moment at that same table would test the absolute limits of his cognitive abilities.
Because the business is finally handled, so they move to the art. Director Neeraj Pandey slides over the script.
And it is a massive 347-page screenplay.
Yeah, and for context for you listening, most standard movies are about, 90 to 120 pages?
Yeah, usually around a page a minute. This is a sprawling epic.
Right. So Vijay gently suggests Anant take it back to his hotel to review over the next few days, but Anant just asks for 30 minutes.
Just 30 minutes for 347 pages.
Right. And Ronnie has to step in again and explain to this totally bewildered room that Anant has a unique combination of photographic, elephant, and eidetic memory.
Which director Neeraj Pandey flat out dismisses as impossible.
Because who wouldn't? You can't read and process 347 pages of dense narrative in half an hour, so they all just sit there in the boardroom and watch him do it.
And 28 minutes later, Anant closes the script.
And Neeraj immediately tests him. He's not buying it.
No, he asks him to recall the events of page 147.
And Anant flawlessly explains that it's the 2005 Visakhapatnam century. He recites the exact dialogue with Yuvraj Singh, but then he goes further.
He adds the emotional layer.
Yeah, he breaks down the precise mindset required for the scene, the burden of proving himself after those early failures. And then Neeraj asks about page 89.
Which is a very different type of scene.
Right. Anant describes this very quiet, emotionally understated scene of Dhoni telling his father he made the India A team.
Right, he captures the exact psychological subtext. That scene wasn't about the raw excitement of making the team. It was about the family's stoicism, keeping Dhoni grounded.
Okay, wait, I have another question here. Let's look at the mechanics of this because I'm genuinely curious. Isn't a perfect memory actually a curse for an actor?
How do you mean?
Well, if you just have data stored in your brain like a hard drive, how do you avoid sounding like a robot just reciting text? I mean, acting is supposed to be feeling and reacting organically, not just data retrieval.
That is the exact crux of why Anant's specific cognitive ability is so unique.
Okay.
Because most photographic memory operates a bit like taking a JPEG of a page. It's just visual recall. But Anant uses a mechanism where he links spatial memory to deep emotional triggers.
So they're interconnected.
Yes. So when he scans page 147, it isn't just a block of text in his mind. He is mentally mapping the dialogue to the physiological feelings of adrenaline, grief, or relief. He is building a three-dimensional emotional map of Dhoni's entire life arc, not just a database of words.
Okay, so he's got the psychological architecture mapped out. But, knowing the blueprint isn't the same as actually building the house.
Right, theory versus practice.
Reading about a life in a boardroom is one thing, but if Anant actually wanted to embody that subtext, he had to leave the corporate world behind and go straight to the source.
And Dhoni recognized this immediately. He pulled Anant out of that corporate environment and dropped him straight into a 2-week environmental immersion in his hometown of Ranchi.
And this wasn't some luxury hotel shadow program where they meet for coffee. Anant literally sleeps in Dhoni's childhood room.
Total immersion.
Yeah, he eats with the family. And this is where he meets Dhoni's father, Pan Singh. Pan Singh is the man who taught Mahi the core philosophy that shaped his famous on-field calmness.
It's a fascinating philosophy, too.
His father's mantra was, "Panic achieves nothing. Will anger change the score?"
That phrase, will anger change the score, is just so vital. In sports psychology, this is a textbook example of cognitive reframing.
Right, changing how you perceive the stress.
Elite athletes use this technique to actively lower their heart rates and regulate cortisol levels during high-stress moments. Anant realized that Dhoni's legendary calmness wasn't just a natural personality trait he was born with. It was a trained, practiced psychological discipline.
And because Anand is soaking all this in with that intense spatial emotional mapping we talked about earlier, he unconsciously begins mirroring Dhoni.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's important to understand how he was mirroring him. It wasn't like a comedian doing a surface-level impression.
Like an SNL skit.
Right, it wasn't that at all. It was more akin to machine learning. Anant spent 2 weeks feeding thousands of micro-expressions, posture shifts, and vocal inflections into his brain until his body just started predicting and outputting Dhoni's natural reactions automatically.
He even adopted Dhoni's characteristic lean and his dry humor.
Which culminates in this amazing domestic moment with Dhoni's wife, Sakshi.
I loved this part. Sakshi actually teases Mahi, declaring that Anant is his upgraded version because he has a better sense of humor and he actually blushes.
Which is brutal but hilarious.
I mean, I want you to imagine what that feels like. You're sitting in your own house, and an outsider has absorbed your mannerisms so perfectly that your own spouse jokes they prefer the new version.
It is funny, but Dhoni actually saw the danger in it. He took Anant aside and warned him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he told him that this genuine, deeply empathetic nature could easily be exploited by the film industry, because true empathy is a massive vulnerability. To let someone else's essence in so completely, you have to leave your own defensive doors wide open.
Wow. But, before Anant had to worry about the film industry exploiting his vulnerability, he had to survive an initiation by some of the most intense competitors on the planet.
Ah, the Brotherhood of the Nets.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Word gets around that the actor playing Dhoni is in Ranchi, and the Indian national cricket team wants to see what he's made of.
They want to test him.
Yeah, you have modern legends, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Yuvraj Singh, and Hardik Pandya, all waiting for him at the stadium practice nets.
Talk about a high-stakes audition.
It's like a method actor attending Juilliard, except Juilliard is run by the Avengers of cricket, and they are throwing 90-mile-per-hour fastballs at your head.
That is a very stressful Juilliard. And they put him through the absolute paces, but they realize very quickly that Anand isn't just some actor who learned how to hold a bat for the cameras.
No, he steps up and actually executes Dhoni's iconic helicopter shot, which, if you know cricket, requires this incredibly unorthodox wrist work and timing.
It's notoriously difficult.
And Dhoni is watching from the sidelines, and he gives Anand's shot a 60% perfection rating, which, coming from the inventor of the shot himself, is astronomically high for a non-professional.
But the most crucial takeaway from that afternoon actually came from Virat Kohli. He saw Anant feeling the sheer weight of the country's expectations. Because playing MS Dhoni in India is like playing a living deity.
The pressure must have been suffocating.
It was. So Kohli pulled him aside and gave him a piece of advice. He said, "Pressure is privilege."
Pressure is privilege. That completely reframes anxiety into gratitude.
Exactly. And it really delves into the shared psychology of elite performers. What Anant learned in those nets was that the mental mechanics of international cricket and blockbuster cinema are identical.
Because it's all about focus, right?
Right. Both require you to rely on deeply ingrained muscle memory and the ability to completely quiet your mind while millions of people are scrutinizing your every move.
The physical and mental resilience he forged in those nets was critical, because production was about to hit its most grueling phase, a period where his two identities, the deeply empathetic artist and the clinical tech innovator, would peak at the exact same time.
Yeah, the production reaches two massive, simultaneous milestones. One is profoundly emotional, and the other is a historic technological breakthrough.
So on the emotional front, they are shooting the death scene of Dhoni's first love, Priyanka.
Which is the tragic anchor of Dhoni's early life.
It is. And on set, Anant doesn't just act sad. He taps into that emotional map he built, channeling an unperformed, devastating grief. It is so raw that it actually moves the entire crew to tears.
The emotional weight on that set must have been palpable.
Dhoni is actually on set watching, and he openly weeps, walking out to embrace Anant for honoring her memory so authentically.
It was lightning in a bottle. But practically the very next day, that Dolby Laboratories meeting we mentioned at the start of the deep dive takes place.
Right, the tech side.
Executives fly in from the U.S. because they had tested Anand's 40% compression algorithm and his custom visual filters.
The ones he coded to fix the lighting inconsistencies on his previous film.
Yes, those exact ones. They're blown away by how seamlessly Maya VFX's software integrates with their Dolby Atmos sound ecosystem.
And they want in.
Exactly. They don't just buy the software. They establish a historic joint R&D hub in Mumbai with Maya VFX.
Okay, I have to stop and ask the question that makes this whole story feel so surreal. How does a human brain actually compartmentalize this?
It's a huge shift in mindset.
Yeah. How do you weep real soul-crushing tears of grief on a film set, fully absorbing someone else's trauma one night, and then clinically pitch a symbiotic software architecture to American tech executives the next morning?
Well, for a normal brain, that kind of context switching would cause severe whiplash. But for Anant, both disciplines are actually forms of optimization and problem solving.
Really? How so?
He treats acting as an empathetic algorithm. He takes inputs, grief, loss, love, and processes them to output authentic human connection.
So the acting is an algorithm, just a biological one.
Right. And the coding, on the other hand, is his sanctuary. When the emotional weight of a performance becomes too heavy, the rigid, logical rules of computer science provide a meditative release. It's pure pattern recognition. It grounds him.
So the coding is literally how he survives the acting.
Exactly.
And all of this, the coding, the eidetic script memorization, the emotional absorption in Ranchi, the grueling cricket training, it was all hurtling toward one single iconic cinematic moment.
The Wankhede finale.
They are recreating the final moments of the 2011 World Cup, and they are shooting at the actual Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai with 30,000 extras in the stands.
The pressure to get this right is just astronomical.
And Anant isn't using a stunt double. He isn't relying on CGI. He has to actually hit the winning six over long on, recreating literally the most celebrated swing of a bat in Indian history.
And he does it. He hits the shot, and the camera captures his face at that exact moment. It's just pure incandescent joy and relief.
Pure cinematic magic.
And when the trailer featuring that specific shot launches, it shatters records. It hits 200 million views globally.
200 million, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, international media outlets like CNN even run segments comparing it to Daniel Day-Lewis.
You literally have rival cricket nations praising a film because the authenticity is so undeniable. But behind the scenes, particularly in the elite circles of South Mumbai, this success causes an absolute earthquake.
Oh, the industry fallout was massive.
The Bollywood old guard, the nepotism babies who have run the industry for decades are trembling. You even have a veteran producer admitting to his son that the system used to protect them, but merit and authenticity are now completely overthrowing dynastic power.
It was a wake-up call for the entire industry.
So what does this all mean? Is this the death of the traditional movie star? Are we entering an era where audiences will only accept polymaths who literally bleed for their craft?
This raises an important question about shifting cultural appetites. The public hunger for genuine authenticity has just evolved. Audiences are incredibly savvy now. They can spot manufactured star power instantly.
They know when they're being sold a product.
Exactly. And Anand proved that when sheer, undeniable merit meets immense, uncompromising dedication, no amount of industry gatekeeping can stop it. A famous surname simply cannot compete with an artist who has physically and emotionally bled for the truth of a story.
It really is a masterclass in treating your work with respect. Looking at Anant Sharma's journey, it proves to you that true genius isn't just about raw intelligence. It's about treating both art and science with an absolute, uncompromising respect for truth.
It's a holistic approach.
Yeah, he didn't just want to look like Dhoni. He mapped the psychological architecture behind the man, and he used his technological brilliance to make sure the world felt it. But, it leaves you with a final thought to really mull over.
What's that?
Anand gave every ounce of his mind, body, and soul to flawlessly absorb MS Dhoni. But when you upgrade your own operating system with someone else's essence so perfectly, right down to your cellular muscle memory and the way you process grief, how do you ever find your way back to yourself?
That is a very profound question.
Something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Chapter 9. It's been an incredible journey, and we'll catch you on the next one.